reclaim my time.
No, you have no additional time. You are out of order.
He's answering
Be quiet.
my question.
You are out of order.
I would like to reclaim
You cannot.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive Report Show with Mike and Sam.
Yeah, welcome back.
Today, look, we're going to slice and dice the absolute unadulterated bullshit that passed for politics in a House Judiciary Committee hearing that just, completely went off the rails.
It really did. We've got the video excerpts, the key quotes, the ex posts covering it. It started as one thing, supposedly, but man, it devolved fast.
Totally. You had Representative Andy Biggs, Republican from Arizona, just a walking, talking embodiment of brain rot, basically running the show.
And then you had Representative Dan Goldman, Democrat from New York, trying to inject, actual facts into the discussion.
Good luck with that. And caught in the middle, or maybe enabling it, was Jonathan Turley, the legal scholar, who seems to have seriously misplaced his principles somewhere along the way.
Right. The hearing was supposed to be about something else entirely, wasn't it? But it just got completely sidetracked.
Oh, yeah. It instantly became about Republican whataboutism. Anything to shield Donald Dirtbag Trump from accountability. That was the game.
You saw Goldman trying to bring up Trump's, let's call it ongoing corruption, right? Stuff that, frankly, would sink any other politician instantly.
Absolutely. Let's jump into the first big one, this whole Trump Memecoin deal.
Ah, yes. Where Trump apparently offered a VIP White House tour, to the biggest investors in his own Memecoin.
Can you spell Paytopplay any clearer? It's just blatant.
So Goldman brings this up to Turley, the supposed legal expert,
Yeah.
And Turley's reaction.
Predictable, avoids condemning it directly, right?
Yeah.
Immediately pivots to the so-called Biden influence peddling scandal, just pure deflection.
And Goldman wasn't having it. He called that previous Biden hearing, a joke of an investigation.
Which it was. Here, let's play this clip. This is Goldman questioning Turley about the Memecoin and the White House tour. Listen to how Turley tries to wiggle out of it.
Let's hypothetically, it's not hypothetical, it's true, Donald Trump has a financial interest in a meme coin named after himself. And he recently offered a VIP White House tour and special reception to the meme coin's 25 biggest holders. After that announcement, the coin surged more than 50%. Does that seem like something that warrants investigation to you, Mr. Turley?
Well, there's no question that you can investigate that to see if there was any criminal conduct. I want to distinguish between that and the influence peddling scandal that the hearing was about in the Biden administration.
I'm not talking about that hearing. And I know you like to filibuster, Mr. Turley. No, I'm happy to talk about that hearing. It was the biggest joke of an investigation. It was embarrassing that you call yourself a credible criminal professor, that you would actually think that there was any evidence that warranted an investigation. But I'm focusing right now because it would seem to me, if you have any credibility, you would agree that auctioning off a White House tour for the highest investors in your own company would warrant either impeachment or criminal investigation. But let me move on because...
Wow. So Turley admits, yeah, you can investigate it, but immediately I want to distinguish, he has to pivot to Biden.
But Hunter Biden, it's their only move. And Goldman just nails him, calling the Biden probe a joke and questioning Turley's credibility for even validating it.
And Goldman's point is sharp. If you have any credibility, wouldn't auctioning off White House access for personal gain warrant investigation? Like, serious investigation.
Of course it would. But Turley just wants to talk about the Bidens. Okay, so that was bad enough. But then Goldman brings up something arguably even more egregious.
This is the deal involving World Liberty Financial, right? A company Trump stands to benefit from getting involved with a UAE-backed company.
And not just any company, one with a history of money laundering allegations. We're talking potentially tens, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars here.
This screams foreign emoluments clause, doesn't it? The constitutional ban on presidents taking money or benefits from foreign powers without Congress is okay?
Exactly. It's like Emoluments 101. So Goldman asks Turley about this deal, and Turley's defense.
Oh, this was incredible. According to some ex-posts covering the hearing, Turley claimed he wasn't familiar with, wait for it, stablecoins.
Stablecoins, a basic type of crypto. And then get this, he basically admits he only really follows Hunter Biden's finances, not, the president of the United States potentially taking millions from a shady foreign-backed entity.
The selective application of legal expertise is just stunning. I only investigate the finances of the Democrats' relatives, not the Republican president. It's absurd.
It's beyond absurd. And that's when Andy Biggs decides he needs to run interference for Turley.
Right. Biggs jumps in, accusing Goldman of personally attacking Turley.
Which is ridiculous. Questioning a witness's credibility, especially when they're dodging questions about potential corruption and admitting selective focus, that's completely irrelevant.
Of course it is. But Biggs wasn't interested in relevance. He wanted to shut Goldman down. This led to that whole mess about parliamentary inquiry.
Oh, God, yeah. Biggs let Turley ramble on well past his time. Then when Goldman tried to ask a procedural question about the inconsistent time limits, Biggs just declared him out of order.
Even apparently when the actual parliamentarian might have disagreed with Biggs's ruling, he was just making it up to control the narrative.
It's all about controlling the narrative. Then Turley chimes in, saying something about restoring credibility by getting beyond personal attack.
The hypocrisy. After he spent his time deflecting onto Hunter Biden and admitting he doesn't track Trump's finances, he's talking about credibility.
It's amazing. He's there as a Republican witness, essentially running cover, and he's complaining about personal attacks when his own testimony is full of holes and bias.
And Biggs doubles down, right? He accuses Goldman, you don't like his answer. You want to shut him up.
No, Goldman wanted an actual answer about Trump's blatant corruption, not another deflection to Hunter Biden. That's the point Biggs refused to acknowledge.
So Goldman tries again with a parliamentary inquiry, asking about the time limits, how they're applied, and Biggs just dismisses him again.
And then escalates. Biggs calls Goldman incredibly rude.
Incredibly rude. From a member of the party whose members scream and yell in hearings, display inappropriate posters, and heckle the president during the State of the Union, the projection is off the charts.
Seriously. And Biggs has the gall to claim he gives everybody the same courtesy. Anyone who watches these hearings knows that's just demonstrably false. It depends entirely on who's speaking and whether they're towing the party line.
Okay, let's play the second clip. This really captures that exchange. The fight over procedure, the time limits, Biggs just steamrolling Goldman, the accusation.
You don't like his answer. Because you don't like his answer, you want to shut him up. What's your inquiry?
My inquiry is when you offered when my time was up at 00 for him to answer the question, he went and answered the question. You then gavelled and said my time was up.
That's not a parliamentary inquiry.
You gavelled and
that's not a parliamentary inquiry.
I would like to know when
that's not a parliamentary inquiry.
My time is up and when he gets to continue answering.
That is not a parliamentary inquiry. Your parliamentarian's about to tell you that's not a parliamentary inquiry.
He actually disagrees. He thinks it is a parliamentary.
That's not a parliamentary inquiry.
Why? I'm asking for the process question, the process question as to when my time is up, which you allowed him to answer the question. You then gavelled and said my time is expired, and then you then offered him to answer the question again, which he already had done.
No, sir. If we were to watch.
You did it based on accusations that I was personally attacking him, which I was not.
Excuse me. Not only are you out of order, you're being incredibly rude. Here's the deal. I gave everybody the same courtesy. You didn't like where he was going. You began interrupting again, but your time was expired. He was trying to answer the question. You didn't like the answer.
That is false. I'm happy to have this answer.
No, that's what happened.
I didn't like the accusation that I was personally attacking him. His credibility.
I didn't say that till the third round when you interrupted. And you continue to interrupt. You continue to be out of order.
And then I asked you,
you are out of order.
I asked you, what am I personally attacking? And you said his credibility, and he is a witness. His credibility matters.
You're out of order. You are so far out of order.
Well, you are not conducting this in a fair and equitable way.
Sure I am. Because everybody got the same courtesy. You asked a question, they're going to finish answering. Everybody got that same courtesy. You interrupted him while he was giving the answer. That's why you got gavelled.
And then
you got interrupted.
And then you said
interrupted.
That's why and then you said my time is up, which is when you would go to the next person.
I gave the same courtesy to every member on your side of the aisle as I gave over here. When your time was expired, 5 minutes expired. If they were in the middle of answering the question, I let it go. Now we can talk about that round and round all you want. That's what I did. That's what I do.
Well, I look forward to you continuing to do that.
Yeah, well, good. And I look forward to you being in order next time. So, Mr. Turley, you may continue to answer the question that he so much doesn't want to hear.
I've never been so certain in saying I'm happy to move on.
Very good. Thank you.
Just listen to Biggs there. Dismissing the parliamentary inquiry, claiming Goldman's just mad because he doesn't like the answer, the condescending tone calling him incredibly rude.
And that claim again. I gave everybody the same courtesy. The clip itself contradicts that. He let Turley keep going, then shut Goldman down for asking a valid question about the process.
And then the parting shot, basically saying Goldman doesn't want to hear Turley's answer, which is just dishonest, before inviting Turley to continue.
And Turley's final line there. I've never been so certain in saying I'm happy to move on. After being asked about potential massive corruption involving the president, he's happy to just move on.
That says it all, doesn't it? Avoidance. Zero accountability. That's the Republican Party's entire approach to anything involving Trump's corruption. Just move on, distract, attack the questioner.
It really felt like watching a microcosm of the whole party right now. It's a cult. Blind devotion to Trump, willing to trash any norm, any rule, any semblance of fairness to protect him.
And you have to ask, what does this do to public trust in Congress, in these institutions? When hearings become this kind of farce.
It erodes it completely. And look, Jonathan Turley's role in this is particularly galling. He positions himself as this objective legal expert, right?
Right, the constitutional scholar.
But he's become little more than a Republican bootlicker, lending this false air of respectability to completely partisan, often baseless right-wing arguments. It's disgraceful.
So what's the recourse? If congressional oversight itself becomes a sham, designed purely to protect Donald Trump, what do you even do?
Well, ultimately, you have to vote these anti-democracy Republicans out. There's no other way.
Yeah.
And support independent media that actually reports the facts, not this partisan
It's
garbage.
just a Trump effect, isn't it? It seems to corrupt everyone it touches. You see it in Turley's intellectual dishonesty. You see it in Biggs' petty authoritarian behavior chairing that committee. It's a moral rot.
And let's not lose sight of the core issues Goldman was trying to raise. Trump potentially using his position, even post-presidency, for personal enrichment. The Memecoin pay-to-play scheme, the massive, shady UAE-backed deal. These are serious things.
Where are the so-called principled conservatives on this? Their silence is deafening. Or maybe they just don't exist anymore.
This hearing, it's not happening in a vacuum. It's part of the broader Republican war on democracy. Attacks on voting rights, attacks on election administrators, attacks on the press, attacks on the judiciary.
And now, turning congressional oversight into a protection racket for their cult leader.
It's an assault on the very idea of truth in politics. You've got partisan shills like Turley posing as experts, biased chairmen like Biggs twisting the rules. It just muddies everything.
And at the center of it all, the rot, the decay, is Donald Psycho Trump. He drives this behavior. Biggs and Turley are doing this for him.
We cannot become desensitized to this. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the constant barrage of scandals, the lies, the norm breaking. But you have to let stuff like this fuel your anger, fuel your resolve.
Absolutely. The Republican Party, as we see it here, it's not a legitimate political party anymore. It's a cult of personality. It's filled with cultists and bootlickers.
It's a clear and present danger to American democracy, period.
So as we wrap this up, remember what you saw in that hearing, the arrogance, the deceit, the utter contempt for accountability. It's a snapshot of what we're up against.
The fight for a functioning pro-democracy government, for progressive ideals, and against these Republican, Trump-loving, authoritarian freaks is far, far from over.
Stay informed, stay engaged, keep listening to the Deep Dive Report Show. Like, subscribe, click that notification icon so you don't miss the next breakdown.
And for the love of God, vote these imbeciles out every single chance you get.
But democracy literally depends on it. We'll catch you for the next breaking news deep dive.